Alex of Atlantic City, get his take on the past week in high school sports. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Sully, how are you this morning?
Good, man. We got the office cooled off. Cole went into the other room and turned down the dial on the thermostat, so we're good to go.
You might have to turn up the heat tomorrow. I think today's supposed to be the last nice day of fall, so we'll see, what we've got for Thanksgiving in that first weekend of December when we got to be outside.
Mike, almost near perfect running conditions for the Meet of Champions cross country. It's going to be a great afternoon up there, probably in the 50s or 60s. We should see some really good times up there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great event. It starts at 11 o'clock at Homedale. I'll probably be headed up there a few minutes after I finish with you guys. And, of course, the main storyline for, local runners up there is Alyssa Aldridge of Mainland going for her second straight Meet of Champions cross-country title, trying to become the 8th girl in the history of the meet to win back-to-back, and the first girl from the Cape Atlantic League since Brittany Sedbury in 2003 and 2004 to win it. And, of course, one of Aldridge's top challenges will be Haddonfield standout runner Brianna Guess of Haddonfield, who won the Meet of Champions, I think about 3 years ago as a freshman. So now a senior, she's expected to challenge Aldridge, and it should be a great race, like you said, up at Homedale. The girls race at 11:45, the boys race at 11 a.m.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, CBA is going for some kind of record too, right?
Yeah, CBA is, a traditional cross-country power. They'll be the team to watch in the boys' race. And obviously that's the thing about cross-country that a lot of people, that aren't familiar with the sport really know about, is that it's an individual race and also a team race at the same time. And Homedale is just a spectacular site. I've said it before. It's to New Jersey cross-country. It's kind of is to New Jersey cross-country what Fenway Park is to baseball, or the Rose Bowl is to football. It's it has that sort of historic significance. And Alyssa Aldridge last week winning the state Group 3 title in 18 minutes 7 seconds on the 3.1 mile course that equaled her MOC time from last year. So she certainly appears primed and in shape and ready for today's race. But obviously there's a ton of tremendous girls runners in there, and other local runners to watch. Alexa Weber of Ocean City, Alana Sassadelli of Buena Regional, of course Mark Nelson of Lower Cape May also competing up there today in the Meet of Champions from the Cape Atlantic League area.
Yeah, and that course is really interesting. Everyone talks about the bowl, and coming out of that second mile with a steady incline, that can really test you mentally.
Well, yeah, I mean, they call it the bowl because it's a part of the course. It's kind of shaped like a soup bowl. And in my younger days, I actually ran the course to see what it was like once. And coming out there at just around mile 2, it is almost directly. You're almost going straight up coming out of that bowl. And it also starts with a hill at the very beginning, which Alyssa Aldridge in Target Go after the state Group 3 championship said she actually thinks that's the toughest hill on the course. So, the race starts and you're running uphill right away. Then it's got some roller coaster hills, going into the first mile. It really is a magnificent course and a magnificent setting and a great test, and that's what makes the race. In addition to it being the best runners in New Jersey, it's testing yourself against a course that makes the race that prestigious.
What was your time back in the day? About 37 minutes?
I think I went, sundial. They timed me with a sundial. I think 37 minutes might be charitable.
You started on Saturday morning, you finished on Sunday afternoon?
Exactly. I was home for dinner. I started at 9 a.m. I got home for dinner that night. So.
Oh, man. Yeah, it should be an exciting event up there. A lot of high school football action going on, Mike. Give me some of your thoughts on last night's action. A great win by Millville, a really emphatic win by Holy Spirit. We're kind of seeing things shake out here in the semifinals.
Yeah, absolutely. As I ran Cocos Valley last night for Millville, ran Cocos Valley, and just a big crowd up there. And Millville, I tweeted out last night. Few towns kind of love football the way that Millville does, and really great fan support for Millville up there. Millville just has done a tremendous job all season. I mean, I'll give myself a little pat on the back here. We had him in our preseason Elite 11 from the start of the season. and they've just been magnificent all season long. Clayton Scott last night, 39 carries, 190 yards.
Wow.
Marcel Ramos did everything last night. I told him after the game he did everything but serve hot dogs in the snack bar. He caught 2 touchdown passes. He intercepted a pass in the fourth quarter to help clinch the victory. He took over as quarterback in the second half when Millville went to a more run-oriented offense, and his only pass was a 40-yard completion to Carlton Lawrence that set up a key touchdown. So, Millville really dominated the game. Although they were losing 15-14 at halftime, they had given Rancocas Valley really 8 points on an interception that was returned for a touchdown. Millville really dominated the game. They held Rancocas standout running back to Iverson Clement to about 60 yards. So it really was a dominating performance by a Millville football team that, you throw out the first half against St. Augustine, and that's their really only hiccup this season. So now they'll get to play Toms River North, at Rowan for the South Jersey Group 5 title. Millville back in the game for the first time since 2011, looking for their first championship since 1975 and going up against the Toms River North team that is, the top seed and the defending champion.
Mike, what do you make of Toms River North? They had all kinds of trouble with Atlantic City in the first round, and then last night dropped 62 points on a very good Howell team. Is this a team that just needed that wake-up call in the first round?
Well, I think maybe that's it. There's kind of two ways to look at it. They had beaten Hal earlier in the season, 50-something to 30-something, and maybe the familiarity with Hal, taking a little mystery out of the game, knowing you had beaten them early, gave them the confidence they needed to roll up a big win last night. Maybe the lack of familiarity with Atlantic City. I think Toms River North committed some turnovers in that game. Atlantic City was able to take advantage of. So, obviously, maybe their hiccup this season was that first round, and they were able to get through it. But they really, outside of the Atlantic City game, had a dominating season. They've got a tremendous quarterback in Mike Rusani, I believe that's how you say his last name. And they really posted up impressive numbers. They bring back just about everybody from last season's team. So, yeah, you look at the Atlantic City game and you say, well, what went on there? But maybe that was, Toms River North's one misstep so far this season. And if it was, they were able to get past it. So, they're undefeated and the defending champions and the top seed. And it'll obviously be a big test for Millville. But, I think Millville, can play with anybody. Clayton Scott, Marcel Ramos, Zach Douglas at linebacker, Darius Porter last night blocking a punt and returning an interception for a touchdown. Those kids are playmakers, and they're among the best top players in South Jersey. So, I wouldn't underestimate Millville going into that game at all.
Talking with Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. Mike, how does Millville go about stopping this quarterback? I mean, he has a chance to be first-team All-State and has had an outstanding career there at Toms River North. He's the guy you got to shut down if you're going to win this game. How do they do it?
Well, I think they do it the same way they kind of slowed down Iverson Clement. Rancocas Valley standout running back last night. I mean, you get a lot of guys to the football. The Millville linebacker, Zach Douglas, can go sideline to sideline. They've got, Darius Porter back there. They've got Marcel Ramos back there. I mean, I think, Millville showed last night that they're capable of if not shutting down, slowing down individual standout players. They did it last night with Iverson Clement. They'll face the same challenge in 2 weeks when they play, Toms River North.
Mike, want to talk a little bit about Holy Spirit. This is a team we knew was going to be pretty good at the beginning of this year, but I don't know if we saw 8-2 in a state championship berth. What do you make of this squad and how far they've come since August?
Yeah, they've kind of exceeded expectations this year. I think, coming into the season, they were coming off, last season's 4-6 record. We knew they were bringing back a lot of players, Reggie Jean Charles, Justin Figueroa, Dante Daniel, Leapy, the linebacker, Daniel Tarsitano. We knew they had a lot of talent back. Mike Costabile, the quarterback. But we said to ourselves, maybe they're a year away. Well, they're apparently ahead of schedule. If you really look at it, I think you've got Kevin Minnick coming up here in a few minutes. and he texted me something last night at about 1 a.m. that's really kind of remarkable. I believe this will be Holy Spirit's like 6th state final in the last 7 years. So even though, they kind of dipped a little bit the last 2 seasons, they haven't dipped that far, really. So it's a really remarkable achievement for Holy Spirit. And when you look at it, maybe they don't always get the credit they deserve for their playoff success. This is the 6th time in 7 years they'll be playing for a state title. You
might be hearing from some Spartan fans about your Elite 11 this week.
Well, I will say that it all shakes out. It all shakes out in the wash. And after the cross country, I'm headed out to a fascinating game. We'll find out who Holy Spirit faces because St. Joe going to play Mater Dei up at Mater Dei, so I'll go right from Homedale Park over to Mater Dei to watch that game, and that'll be one of the more fascinating games of the weekend. And, St. Joe has won 7 straight state titles, obviously the premier small school, non-public program in the state, and they're playing a Mater Dei team that has made kind of no bones about it, that they're kind of trying to load up and try to, challenge the Holy Spirits and the St. Joe's of the world, a Mater Dei team that's 10-0 and really dominated opponents so far this season. So that'll be another, great event that I'll be at later today.
Look at this guy. Don't ever accuse Mike McGarry of resting on his laurels. Double dipping today.
Get to the events.
Cross country football.
Yeah, well, they're a short drive from each other, so and the cross country race lasts 18 minutes, so that's not exactly a full day.
There you go. Good stuff as always, Mike. Appreciate the insight and enjoy the rest of the day. I know you got a full schedule there, but it should be a fun day for you.
All right, Dave. Looking forward to it. Talk to you later. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, bud.
See you later.
That's Mike McGarry, the press of Atlantic City.